Can't hear you.
What's going on, everybody? Sofo-Sama here. I just wanted to touch on the topic of discourse that's pretty common nowadays. Making a good fighting game is hard but very doable if you're intentional. The best ones like Street Fighter, Tekken, Guilty Gear, so on and so forth, all succeed for similar core reasons, even though they feel very different. I'm going to go into that today, right now in this video. One of the most important things you can do is nail the core feeling. This is very important. If a game doesn't feel good, nothing else matters. Things like priorities of responsive controls. Inputs must register immediately. Can you buffer inputs? Do you get clear hit feedback? Hit stop, the brief freeze on impact. Strong sound effects. Screen shake. And different games do this in many different manners that make each of them interesting in their own right. A rule of thumb, in my opinion, is that players should know when they're hit or when they're doing hits without looking at their health bar. Also, when you're playing, whatever game it is, movement should feel intentional. Walk speed, dash distance and speed, jump arcs, air control or lack of it, just whatever the design is in choice. Another major point when it comes to making a great fighting game is to design a clear combat philosophy. Developers should ask themselves early, what decisions do they want players to make during the fight? For example, Street Fighter focuses on spacing, footsies, risk management, so on and so forth. Tekken, same thing but a bit more. There's a larger focus on movement, punishment, matchup knowledge, and pull from Guilty Gear. There's a lot of freedom of attacks and pressure, momentum, creativity. Some of the main focuses are the neutral game, aggressive offense, defensive mechanics and reads, or just high-speed chaos. Now, an issue is trying to do all this at once. Trying to do everything sometimes leads to just a shallow game. Just a really poorly built shallow game. Another detail that goes to making a great fighting game is having simple, traditional inputs with pretty deep outcomes. Good fighting games are easy to start, but generally hard to master. I think there should be an avoidance of excessive complicated inputs for basic moves. Like moves shouldn't just exist just because. I feel like they should give normals or moves meaningful purpose. Give them distinct purposes, like if something's an anti-air, poke, if it's for pressure, or whiff punish. Not necessarily this tool should be exactly for this, but it can be used to do this. Some examples are like having a punch that's very fast but unsafe, or another that might be slow but very rewarding. Players learn through use and not tutorials. I've always learned how to play a fighting game by actually going in there and playing, and then discovering the minute details when it comes to getting into practice mode and labbing. Another very important detail is that frame data matters. Even if the players never see it, frame data definitely matters. You don't need to show frame data, but you must design it intentionally to where they can feel it. Some of the key concepts are startup, active frames, and recovery. Startup talks about how fast the move begins. Active frames talk about how fast it actually hits. And recovery is how punishable it is. I feel like a design rule can be fast moves, have low reward, and then big damage can come from commitment and risk. One of the keys to making great frame data is being intentional and knowing that this is a game and someone will have to actively participate. So kind of play with somebody's timing or somebody's risk reward management, or maybe even reaction speed. So nowadays we're getting an influx of games where we want newbies to come in and start playing and have fun. But what they're doing is they're focusing on offense, making it to where everybody can win and everybody can win easily. I feel like there needs to be some trade-off to where defense needs to be made fun again. Make defense fun. And this is where most games nowadays fall. Some examples might be in anime games, or definitely in Guilty Gear, how there's so many different mechanics you can use defensively. Or even in City of the Wolves now, how they have hyper defense, guard cancel, things like that. You're actively defending. Blocking is boring, and when people get bored, they mash or they quit. Ways to improve defensive mechanics can be adding pushback on block, adding perfect blocks, parries, using resources for defensive mechanics like burst, meter type resources, or a dodge. Risky but rewarding escape options is always fun as well. Defense should make you feel like you're actually playing, but not waiting. Now this topic is very, very important. I feel like it can lead to a game being really good, one of the best games ever made, or really bad. Balanced roster through roles, not numbers. Don't try to make every character equal in every way. Instead, give them identities, but also keep them balanced. For instance, there are rushdown characters, zoners, grapplers, all-arounders, and tricky setup characters, which I love. And sometimes you can mix and match this combination. Like for instance in Galaxy Fight, there's a rushdown grappler in the game. It should be balanced as well. There should be trade-offs. Everybody should have weak matchups, but not necessarily weak to the point of that character's getting destroyed, but to a point to where it feels fair and they're actually challenging themselves in the match. There also should be resource limitations between all characters. Perfect balance is impossible, but interesting balance is ideal when it comes to fighting games, or making a great fighting game. Sound and visual clarity over realism. What do I mean by that? You have games like Mortal Kombat that focus on realism. In the past, I guess, they've tried to focus more so on that, as opposed to readability in their games. For instance, also in older Street Fighter games, they would purposely make the character's hands or whatever they're attacking with a tad bit bigger or less proportionate than how it would actually be compared to the composition of a human body. But fighting games need readability and not so much realism. Realism looks good, but when you're actually playing, you need that readability. You need to prioritize clear silhouettes, distinct hit sparks or hit effects, and readable animations, even the exaggerated ones. Players, when they play, have to understand who's winning neutral, who's in danger, and when it's their turn. And since I was talking about it earlier, having newbies come to a game, I feel like a game that is good should have a good tutorial design. Teach them through playing. Guilty Gear does it great. I keep saying Guilty Gear. Damn. Let me find out that Guilty Gear is the best new fighting game. But Guilty Gear does a great job at doing this. Most players never watch long tutorials. It could be ideal to use short interactive lessons, challenges instead of lectures, or some form of visual cues like slow motion or highlights. They should teach why something works, when to use it, and what will happen if they fail. to kind of get people general ideas of what you're supposed to be doing in the game, or give them an ideas of how to approach the game if they don't know anything about it. And lastly, build a community. Try to put forth effort in making sure that people play the game, whether it's by making a great netcode, ensuring that there's a way for people to play this in the future. Just continually build the community, and it comes in a bunch of different ways. You can actually go out, reach out to people and get them to play it. You can get top dogs, top fighters to play the game. You can promote it in different social media outlets. You can just continually support the game in any way you can. A lot of people nowadays, they continually release DLC, or they'll make updates to the game that are pretty interesting. You can do little things to keep going, like costumes, or maybe new modes, or just small updates, small changes. One common thing that they're doing nowadays are balance changes. But I feel, so check this out. I want to talk about this. Dragon Ball did some pretty major changes through the years, but they've lasted a while as a premier tag game. I have mixed feelings about that, but I'm also somebody who quit Dragon Ball. I wasn't a big fan of it, but it is a great game. Things like that though. Small, consistent things you can update a game with will keep it going and keep it popular. Playtest early and constantly, even when the game's out, continue to playtest the game. You cannot design a fighting game alone in your head. You cannot design a fighting game by only playing against the computer and testing stuff. You need that human interaction, that spark of creativity. Play tests with complete beginners, intermediate players, and competitive players if possible. Watch where people get confused, what they spam, what they avoid. Don't ask, is this fun? Ask, what made you stop smiling? If you understand that.